Hi everyone, let's talk about responsive web and native apps. Businesses are already aware of the need to adapt to mobile. Deciding whether you should go for a responsive web app or native app is one of the first questions that you will need to figure out. Both responsive web apps and native apps have their advantages and disadvantages. And it's important to understand these in detail before committing to a particular development path. This video explores both paths and highlights their pros and cons. A responsive web refers to the web designs that accommodate different screen sizes, so the content looks great on any screen size. Responsive web design is normally created using the mobile first principle. The experience is defined first on mobile and then scale up to the larger screens such as a tablet, desktop, and TV. Responsive web design uses fluid grid systems, flexible grids that use relative sizes rather than absolute ones, and also fluid images. So let's talk about advantages of responsive web. First of all, it lowers the cost of production. If you are building a product from scratch, a responsive website will be much less expensive than a mobile app. And also, you have cross-platform accessibility. Responsive websites use HTML and CSS to display pages, and this can be accessed with any browser. As a result, responsive websites work equally well on various platforms and devices, and there is no need to install anything on your device. To start using the app, you only need to type your website URL into the browser address file. Potentially, all devices that are connected to the internet can access the website, and it reduces time to market. The product team doesn't need to go through approvals at the App Store for iOS or Google Play for Android, a mandatory step for every native mobile app. Thus, if you want to change the design of your website, you can simply update your code and the changes will be immediately visible to your users. Now let's consider disadvantages of responsive design. First of all, it requires an internet connection. Since a responsive web is a website, it cannot work offline. Users will need constant connectivity to make use of the website. And you need to optimize content for mobile. High resolution images and fancy animated effects should be adjusted for mobile devices. If you don't, users will have poor performance and longer page load times, which will ultimately lead to a higher bounce rates. And there is limited support of native device features. Responsive websites have limited support of mobile device features such as access to a camera, microphone, and push notifications. Native apps. Native apps are developed to run on a specific mobile operating system. They are created in a programming language for operating system. For example, if you are going to develop a native app for iOS, you would do development in Swift. You would create the app based on the guidelines proposed by Apple and go through the App Store review process before your app becomes available for users. So, what is the advantages of native apps? First of all, it has better performance. Well-written native code always runs faster than a responsive web app code. Mobile apps can store essential data on devices and do not rely on a middle state processor such as web browser to perform even the most elementary functions. And also, there's consistency with operating system design. Native apps act like the rest of the user experiences on the phone. Both visual design decisions and interaction patterns will be familiar for your target audience. As a result, they will spend less time learning how to use your product. And it leverages mobile devices hardware control features. Native apps can normally access all the functionality of the chosen device, such as a camera, microphone, and Bluetooth. And it offers more personalization. Personalization is about offering a great experience to users based on their interests, location, and behavior. Mobile apps let users set up preferences from the start. This makes it easier for you to track users' interactions so you can customize their experiences according to their needs. And it can work offline. Once the app has been downloaded, its data can be stored directly on a device. The product team can decide which content it wants to make available for offline use. And you have more freedom in design. Mobile operating system gives designers more options in terms of visual and interaction design. Designers can introduce gesture-based interactions or complex animated interactions in mobile apps. What is the disadvantages of native apps? First of all, it can't run on a device with a different operating system. For example, you are not able to run an iOS on an Android. If you want your app to run on both, you need to develop two versions of your app, one for iOS and another for Android. So it's expensive to build. The biggest downside for building native apps is the type of coding necessary. If you want to build an iOS app, you will need to learn or hire a developer who can code in Swift. If you want to build an Android app, you will need a person who knows Java. If your product team wants to release an app for iOS and Android, then they will have to write a code for each operating system. In a nutshell, when it comes to choosing between responsive and native apps, it's worth remembering that both have their advantages. What matters the most is satisfying your users' needs. Carefully specify your business goals and find the right way or ways to achieve these goals using a responsive web app, native apps, or combination of both.